Welcome to the Just Nuke It podcast. Are you ready for another apocalyptic probe into the fringes of flash fiction? We're going to unearth some wild end-of-the-world scenarios, for your listening pleasure.
Buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up for sure. You guys sent us some captivating flash fiction stories, and we're going to dissect them today like blockbuster action films, extracting some surprising insights for you.
Always a good time to see how humanity imagines its own end, right?
Yeah.
And more importantly, how we might just scrape by.
Oh, yeah, how we might pull through. So first up, in this apocalyptic probe, we're heading to a dystopian future. Just picture this, okay? A new empire of darkness has cast the world in shadow.
Ooh, I'm intrigued already.
And standing defiant against this bleak backdrop is, well, the Taj Mahal.
The Taj Mahal.
Yeah. It was once a symbol of love, a breathtaking tourist destination, but now it's the last bastion of resistance. What a stark contrast, wouldn't you say? The serene monument against overwhelming darkness.
It's such a powerful image. You've got this icon of beauty and enduring affection transformed into a symbol of defiance. It immediately makes you wonder, what inherent strengths could such a place possibly possess that would make it defensible?
Exactly. That's the question our characters are wrestling with. We've got Mira leading this ragtag group.
Ragtag, huh?
Oh,
absolutely. Not your typical heroes, not at all. We've got Kai. He's a tech prodigy, so you can already see some potential there. Nisha is an autistic savant, has a remarkable ability to see patterns. Then there's Jamal, a scarred survivor from the mines. No stranger to hardship, that's for sure. And finally, we have Anya, the keeper of ancient knowledge. That sounds pretty crucial in this new world, don't you think?
Definitely crucial. And the fact that they're explicitly not warriors, that seems key here.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Emperor dismisses their, what does he call it, their sentimentality?
Their attachment to this historical site. You instantly get that classic underdog vibe. It sets up that their strength won't come from brute force, right? It'll come from ingenuity and those unique skills each of them brings to the table. And Anya, with her ancient knowledge, that just screams potential solutions that the new empire might have completely overlooked.
Fascinating. Okay, so how does a marble tomb become a weapon, you ask?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Nisha, with her incredible pattern recognition, she starts deciphering those intricate friezes of the Taj Mahal. Those decorative bands of carving you often see on historical buildings. Imagine hidden in that artistry that there could be strategic clues.
Right. Meanwhile, Kai, our tech whiz, he's busy repurposing ancient solar arrays. Think about it, taking something designed for peaceful reflection and turning it into an energy source for defense. Talk about ingenuity. And Jamal, drawing on those raw survival instincts, is desperately reinforcing the walls. They even manage an early victory. They channel the dawn light through mirrored mosaics and boom, take out one of those shadow creatures. Such a brilliant example of using what you have in unexpected ways.
It's amazing what desperation can lead to, right? And I love the detail about Nisha deciphering the friezes. It makes you wonder, did the original builders inadvertently encode information that holds strategic value in this future context through their artistry?
Right. And Kai repurposing the solar arrays, well, that highlights how important adapting existing technology is for survival. I mean, think about it. Using light against creatures of shadow, it's evocative, symbolic even.
Oh, for sure.
Sadly, though, as we see a lot in these apocalyptic probes, victory rarely comes without a cost. And they lose Anya. Yeah. The story mentions her defiance echoing in the empty courtyard. Really speaks to her spirit and the impact of her loss on this small group. But this loss, devastating as it is, leads to another crucial discovery. Nisha uncovers the Mughal waterworks.
Waterworks?
Yeah, and these weren't just functional, They were designed to mimic paradise. That's what the story says. Think about it, a whole intricate network of water features within the Taj Mahal. What do you think? How could that be a defensive advantage?
Oh, that's a fascinating twist.
Oh.
So the waterworks, originally meant to create this atmosphere of serenity and beauty, they're now being weaponized. I bet the reflected light from the water could really disorient those shadow creatures. Maybe they have some sensitivity to light.
Maybe.
And the sounds of unseen water flowing. Think about that. It would create so much confusion, making navigating the Taj Mahal almost impossible for the enemy. Essentially, this landmark becomes a disorienting maze for anyone trying to attack.
Like a house of mirrors, but with water. And Jamal, remember Anya's knowledge, those pilfered scrolls she had? He puts them to good use, starts carving defensive glyphs. symbolic markings believed to have protective properties. It's like a blend of practical defenses and, well, something almost mystical, wouldn't you say?
It is, and the new Empire of Darkness probably doesn't understand it, right? Or account for it. It's a reminder that sometimes the best defenses aren't the most obvious ones.
So true. Now, what I find really striking here is the psychological impact of all this. The emperor, whose power thrives on crushing despair and swift victories, is facing this unexpected resistance from a group he dismissed as, well, sentimental.
A huge blow to his ego.
Totally. And this marble monument, a relic of a bygone era, it becomes a beacon of defiance. Refugees are drawn to it, not because it's a heavily fortified military base, but because it embodies hope in a world consumed by darkness.
The symbolism is powerful. The Taj Mahal goes from a monument to love to a symbol of hope and resistance against this oppressive regime built on fear. And the refugees, they're drawn to the idea that even against impossible odds, you can still stand firm.
And the story acknowledges that their defense is probably unsustainable. The emperor's forces, they'll eventually come down on them in full force. But the focus isn't on whether they win or lose, it's on their act of defiance. They transformed this monument of love into something even more profound, a symbol of enduring hope, a legacy maybe, that will inspire future resistance. Even in defeat, the act of resistance itself can plant the seeds of change.
It's like their legacy, much like the original purpose of the Taj Mahal, might actually outlive their physical existence.
Right.
Their struggle becomes a story, a powerful narrative of courage and resourcefulness that could ignite future rebellions against the darkness.
That's a powerful thought. Okay, ready for our second apocalyptic probe?
Yummy.
All right. We're shifting gears completely, leaving that dusty, shadowed future behind and heading to a very different kind of endangered landscape, the Amazon rainforest.
Always a good choice.
Right, but this time, it's not the lush paradise we imagine. Oh no. It's ravaged by an internal burning blight, this really disturbing image of an ecosystem collapsing from within. And our protagonist is Dr. Anya Santos. She's leading a scientific expedition to try and understand this ecological catastrophe that's baffling everyone.
So this is a very different kind of survival narrative then. Not a tyrannical human empire this time, but nature itself. An environmental disaster-defying explanation.
Yeah. And this burning blight, it's so unsettling, suggesting a fundamental sickness at the heart of the rainforest.
Whoa.
And in an unexpected twist, Anya's team stumbles upon a hidden tribe. But these aren't the passive figures you might expect. They're painted for war, their bows aimed directly at the blight.
Interesting.
Right. It immediately challenges any assumptions you might have about indigenous cultures and suggests they might actually hold the key to solving this, where science has failed.
Definitely a turning point in this story. It flips the script on the idea of Western science coming to save the day. They're not trying to save a pristine wilderness. The indigenous people are already fighting back.
Exactly. And their hostility, it's not directed at the scientists, it's at the blight itself. It really speaks volumes about their deep understanding of the threat.
They know what's at stake.
Anya, to her credit, approaches the tribe's elder with respect. She wants knowledge, not to impose scientific superiority. And the elder explains the crisis not in scientific terms, but as discord. It's a concept that doesn't really fit into established scientific frameworks, does it?
Not really.
But that night, a fascinating exchange takes place. They share Z's scientific data with the tribe's ancient legends. Naturally, there's skepticism, especially from the scientists. But Anya, I think she starts to see the limitations of their understanding in the face of this disaster.
You can't always rely on purely scientific thinking, especially with something as complex as an ecosystem.
Right. The tribe's idea of discord, while not scientifically precise, points to a fundamental imbalance that science might be missing.
It's about being open to other ways of knowing, different perspectives.
And then the story takes a really fascinating turn. Myth starts to align with reality in strange ways. The legends speak of creatures that can shift their form, creatures connected to earth and fire. Initially, Anya might dismiss it. But then Eli, the botanist, discovers plant roots mutating at an unnatural pace, mirroring those very descriptions. And the shamans talk about a disturbance of balance, angered spirits, which sounds metaphorical, right? But then Z's atmospheric readings show chaotic energy fields that seem to correlate with these disturbances. So the scientists have to shift their perspective. They're not just trying to understand anymore, they're trying to translate.
That's such a great example of how traditional ecological knowledge, often passed down through stories and myths, can hold valuable insights. Sometimes even before science catches up. The tribe's legends and the scientific observations, they converge. It makes you think that these myths aren't just fairy tales. They might be symbolic representations of real phenomena that the tribe has known for generations.
Like a different kind of scientific record.
Exactly.
So the team, working with the tribe now, changes their approach. Eli begins cataloging this fantastical flora, looking for patterns in the mutations. Anya dives into the tribe's folklore, searching for similar events and rituals used to appease the spirits. And Z uses satellite data to try to find the epicenter of this chaotic energy. It's a desperate, unconventional approach, far from their initial scientific plan.
They're learning to adapt, to think outside the box. It highlights the idea that solving complex environmental problems requires a holistic approach, bringing together different ways of knowing.
A blending of science and tradition. And then the creatures from the legends, they start to manifest, not as monsters, but as physical symptoms of this ecological sickness. Vines pulsing like arteries, rodents with molten lava eyes, bizarre and terrifying. But importantly, they react to the shaman's chants and the tribe's symbols. It leads them to an unconventional solution, a ritual at the heart of the blight. Z creates these makeshift electromagnetic arrays trying to mimic the energy fields the shamans are invoking. And Eli, using the tribal stories, manipulates the mutated plants. It's a long shot, but it's all they've got.
Using technology to amplify, maybe even translate ancient rituals. It's a really powerful concept, suggesting a synergy between science and the tribe's more intuitive understanding of these forces. It's like a fusion of knowledge systems.
And the outcome, well, it's intentionally ambiguous, which makes it even more impactful, in my opinion. The Earth's pulse, it stutters, the blight recedes, but it leaves a scar. The elder doesn't celebrate. He understands they've bought time, not achieved a cure. And Anya leaves with a changed perspective. She realizes the limits of her scientific worldview and gains respect for indigenous knowledge.
It's a reminder that healing our planet is a long process, requiring not just technology, but a shift in how we view the natural world, a respect for indigenous wisdom.
And a willingness to learn from it. So what does this all mean for you listening to these apocalyptic probes from the Just Nuke It podcast?
In both these flash fiction stories, humanity is on the brink, and they find hope in unexpected places.
The echoes of the past, the wisdom of those often overlooked.
Whether it's turning a monument of love into a fortress or merging science with ancient knowledge, these stories show that solutions can come from anywhere. They highlight human resilience, unconventional thinking, and the importance of looking beyond the norm. We need to be open to wisdom from all sources, whether it's historical architecture or indigenous communities.
So think about it. What seemingly useless knowledge or forgotten skill might hold the key to overcoming a future crisis? Could the stories and legends we dismiss as fantasy actually hold profound truths about our world?
Don't underestimate the power of different ways of knowing. Be open to the unexpected, to the wisdom found in the most surprising places.
We hope these tales from flash fiction sparked your imagination and gave you something to think about. Rate and follow the Just Nuke IT podcast for more captivating stories and apocalyptic probes next week.